I can see that most of you have already joined in, so we'll be beginning with the webinar now. A very good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Mahima Lal, and I'm part of engagement marketing team at Hero Wire, and I'm your host for today. So before we move into this webinar and go into the topic, I would like to introduce you all to this platform, which is Hero Wired. So everyone, Hero Wired is a premium learn tech company, which is the larger part of the Hero Group. So Hero Wired is on a mission to not only reimagine the way people learn, but also build a better and a brighter future. So we make sure that we equip our learners with the right skill set, the right knowledge, and the expertise that they need in order to find success. So as you all can see, today we are presenting a webinar on the topic decoding analytics for business decision making. And in order to present this topic, we have Dr. Rajan Gupta with us. A very warm welcome, Rajan.
Thank you, Mahima. And
A
good
quick
evening.
introduction to Rajan. So Dr. Rajan is a research and analytics professional with 13 plus years of combined experience in AI/ML product services delivery, analytical research, consulting, training, and he has also authored 100 plus publications, including books and research papers in the area of public information system, data science, technology, and management. He has received prestigious AI Changemaker Leader Award, and also he is among the 40 under 40 Data Scientist Award, which has been given to him by Analytics India magazine. Currently, Dr. Rajan is working with Analytica Data Labs, where he is currently the Vice President into Research and Analytics. A very warm welcome, Dr. Rajan, again.
Thank you, Mahima.
We also have Soumya Saxena with us today. So Soumya is the subject matter expert for the Hero Wire data science programs. She will be helping you out in order to understand our programs that are into data science in a much more detail. And if in case you have any questions related to analytics, data science, or the program that we are offering, please feel free to put down your questions in the chat box or into the Q&A section. I guess without any further ado, over to you, Dr. Rajan. You can present your screen now.
Thank you, Mahima. Just confirming if the screen is visible.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining in. Thank you very much for joining in. First of all, I would like to thank the team of Hero Wired for inviting me to have this session being conducted around analytics, which has become really important in today's context. Wherever we are working, wherever we are studying, wherever we are, doing any sort of job, we are dealing with analytics on day-to-day basis. We are dealing with data on day-to-day basis, and we are dealing with some sort of decisions that needs to be made based on those data. And that is where it is imperative that we all understand how to decode this analytics for business decision making. I'm sure all of you must be having some sort of work experience, or even if you are studying as a student enrolled with certain universities, then also it's really important for every one of you to understand that how do business decisions are being made with the help of analytics. And prior to that, we all need to understand that what all analytics is all about, what is the kind of landscape that we generally see around analytics, what are the different decision-making frameworks that we have, what are the benefits that we can derive out of applying analytics to the decision-making. So all these aspects I'll be covering in today's session, and post the session, you would have some bit of idea about how analytics is being used across different decision makings. Within the enterprises, we consider a lot of complex as well as simple operations, simple units where we are applying analytics on day-to-day basis. But for the sake of simplicity, I'll be talking about general examples which are understandable by everyone, taking certain student examples, taking certain HR examples, employee examples, which we all can really associate with without any technical background that's there. So let's first try and understand what the field of analytics is all about. And there we generally define it to be a scientific field where we scientifically collect, analyze, and assess data That's the task that we do with respect to the data sets, that we are collecting it from different sources, we are analyzing them, and we are assessing them for some sort of purposes. And those purposes can be explorations, reporting, or predicting patterns. Now, exploration essentially means that you are trying to understand what could be done with the data, what exactly it's stored inside the data. You may want to report certain things, what is happening in the data, and you may want to predict some things in future with respect to what has happened in the historical past. So we are collecting, analyzing, and assessing data for exploring, reporting, and predicting patterns. And what is the purpose of them? It may be useful in knowledge enhancements. It may be useful in historical learnings. It may be useful in decision making. And at enterprise levels, generally, we are taking the help of data for mostly decision making purposes, because essentially there are a lot of different types of decision makings that happens inside any organization, which can be human based, which can be technology based, which can be a combination of both of them. So at any point of time, there are so many decisions that needs to be made in any of the enterprises that only human element is becoming difficult. And why has that happened? Predominantly because of digitization. As we have digitized from being paper oriented to become more paperless, we are generating a lot more data at a lot more speed. And that is where the concepts of big data has emerged. Now imagine billions and trillions of data points available in front of you, and you have to humanly assess them, understand them, and take a decision. That's not possible, right? So to cater to those kind of variety, velocity, veracity, and volume of the data sets, we are taking the help of this field, which is known as analytics or data analytics. Usually within the world of analytics, we have a lot many techniques, a lot many things being covered up. So let us try and understand the landscape of it, that what all it covers up. And I'm sure you would be able to then take a decision whether to apply a specific technique or a combination of two or three areas, or whether to learn about them, or what exactly decision is to be taken with respect to your own workings or education. So within the field of analytics, we generally have mathematics, programming, data gathering and management, operation research, machine learning, advanced machine learning, deep learning, and visualizations as prominent areas that we use on a daily basis. From mathematical point of view, it is basically helping all of us to understand how an algorithm work, how a data science technique work, how an analytical uh, technology work. So from that perspective, it is always good to have that foundation, though it is not necessary to perform a variety of tasks, but in certain situations, it's always beneficial that you have that mathematical foundations embedded in yourself. Second is the programming and the computer science concepts, where a lot of programming principles comes into consideration. A lot of structures, the data structures, the algorithms, the principles of the algorithms, and the problem solving comes into consideration. So focusing on that really helps us to take a better decision, because our approach would be optimized and most efficiently used by us to create any sort of analysis and take up the right decisions. Though now a lot of dependencies are moving away from the languages and tools, but still there are a lot of options available, both from programming point of view or coding point of view, or low coding or no coding technology point of view, where you don't have to worry about the coding aspects, but you can also focus more on the problem solving. Within problem solving, analytics involves data gathering and management, where you want to understand, you want to scrape, you want to collect, you want to store the different types of data inside warehouses, inside data lakes, inside databases, what kind of design you want to keep them. So that all comes under data gathering and management. You may want to focus on the machine learning aspect, where you are learning from the historical data sets in a supervised manner or an unsupervised manner, or there are different combinations like semi-supervised or self-supervised or transfer learnings that are available. And as you uh, consider data apart from numeric ones, you move on to other advanced machine learning areas, where you are dealing with images, videos, audios under computer vision, or text data under natural language processing, or graphical representations of the data under social network analysis. And this all can be optimized using heuristic search algorithms. Then as we are moving forward, We are also seeing mimicking of human brains with the help of neurons, and that popularly is known as neural network. They are starting to emerge under technology like deep learning, where we are actually trying to see that how complicated relationships can be learned by the machine the way human brains works. And we have visualizations available with us where how to present our data, how to present the findings, how to present it to the different stakeholders within the organizations, to the superiors, to the peers, to the juniors, how exactly we are communicating our storyline, how we are solving the decision with the help of data, and how effectively we are able to communicate that all comes under storytelling and visualizations. And over and above, if we want to really optimize it from scientific purposes, we are using operational research techniques like linear programming and project management, where a lot of simulations are being done, a lot of problem solving is being done based on the nature of the work that is being done by the different organizations. So overall, if we look at a very bird's eye view kind of a thing, then analytics landscape primarily consists of these areas where you'll have a different set of techniques coming up, different set of tools being focused upon, different approaches being talked about, where you can apply analytics to your decision making. So that's a high level view of what we are doing under analytics. Now, there is a very peculiar journey that we generally take care of with respect to analytics. Um, it is not just about solving the most complex problem first. That may not be required at all. You start with standard reporting. You start with reporting what's happening in the data. So what has happened and how often that particular pattern has happened, when that pattern has happened, when that occurrence has happened, it's all start with that kind of an analysis. And we slightly keep on increasing the maturity level as well as the impact that it puts on the organization. So if you'll see the two axes, on the x-axis, I'm showing the maturity level of the analytics capabilities, whereas on the y-axis, I'm showing the impact that it puts on the business processes or the ROIs. So standard reportings are less complicated, but they are also putting less efforts or less impact on the processes. So we use it for certain level of decision making, but everything cannot be captured. So we go on to the more complicated one, for example, query drilling down and the root cause analysis. Where exactly is the problem? You want to do some slicings and dicings. You want to get deeper into the data sets and put in more impact on the businesses. As we grow, we move on to the third maturity level of analytics, where we start asking the questions, we start hypothesizing the business questions, where we want to test something. This product is good, that product is bad. This campaign is good, that campaign is bad. So why this particular thing is happening? Why this particular campaign is being preferred more? Why this particular employee is being promoted well, why this employee left the organizations. All these questions start getting answered as you move on to the next level of maturity. And you start creating some sort of forecasting models as well. Maybe with respect to some time, maybe with respect to some other features, you start forecasting on a very small interval basis. And ultimately, that leads us to predictive and prescriptive models, where we start answering what will happen next. What is the best course of action if we really want to become more efficient in our decision making? So that is the kind of maturity that we generally go on from lowest level to the highest level, where reporting and descriptive analysis stays at the bottom part of the maturity, and advanced analytics, where a lot of forecastings and predictions are being done, stays on the top. And just to give you one example around this, and these four stages can also be called as descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. And just to give you an example where we are considering employee recruitment by the HR team within an organization. So at the descriptive level, we see that employee dropout rates are increasing. Now we start questioning ourselves. We start questioning, are there any issues with the admission processes or the recruitment processes that we need to be aware of? We don't know. We ask those questions, we see, we understand and analyze that, then why employee dropout rates are increasing. We move on to the next part of diagnostic. We try to find out and analyze the root cause of the identified issues. Are there any specific locations? Are there any specific education backgrounds? Are there any specific genders, courses, or any any profile that they're coming from, are there any concerns with respect to a specific category that we need to be worried about? We don't know. So that is what we start testing out during our diagnostic analysis phase. Next, we move on to the predictive analysis and we start developing a predictive model. What is the profile of the employees most likely to drop the job offer? That could be answered with respect to historical data sets. That what was the kind of profile of the employees who did not accepted the offer letters in the past. We try to model them into a mathematical equation or simply into the system where we just put in the profile values that this is the education background, this is the location, this is the gender, and this is what he has done or she has done. Tell me whether he's likely to drop the job offer or not. So those kind of systems start getting developed based on the historical learnings. And then finally, we move on to the prescriptive part of analytics, where we try to answer what is the best course for action. Can we optimize the recruitment or the admission processes? How should be a best in class recruitment process be? We start questioning our processes. We start trying to optimize our processes. We start taking a view at what exactly we are following. Maybe we are not best in the compensation. Maybe we are not taking up any sort of outside of the compensation, other benefits are not being offered to the employees. Maybe the quality of the work is not good. Maybe the process itself is very cumbersome for the employees to be engaged with an organization. So all these questions start getting answered as we move on to the highest level of analytical maturity under prescriptive analytics. So these are the different stages through which any business decisions are being made. It is never like that we start from the highest maturity level of analytics. We generally do not start directly with prescriptive analytics, or we start directly with the modeling using predictive analytics. There is a specific journey that has been laid out with respect to decision making in the analytics space, and that is what we honor whenever we are working on any sort of analytical problem for business decision making. And that gives us a very structured approach to what we are doing. And that is where a step-by-step approach helps us to solve a business problem using analytics, where we start with the business problem understanding. We try to understand what is the domain, what is the context, what are the different objectives that we want to achieve, what is the problem that we need to clearly define, we need to clearly articulate, which is the most important thing to begin your analytical journey. So you generally start with business problem identifications and definitions, and then you look at the data that allows you to understand data, that allows you to understand architectures behind it, different sources, whether it's reliable enough to be analyzed, whether we need to collect more data, we have to validate its correctness, we want to see the quality checks around the data, and we start questioning the data itself. So once we have understood the business problem and we have defined the problem, we collect the data, and now we start preparing the data for analysis. We do the univariate analysis, we try and clean the data, we try and find out the patterns in the data, and we start with the 4 levels of descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. So every problem may be mapped to different stages. Every problem may not require you to go into all the 4 stages. Some of the business questions can be answered using a couple of stages itself through descriptive and diagnostic analysis. For some, you may require model building for predictive analytics. So then we move on to the model selection and building part, where we pick up the right modeling technique, we pick up the right approach to model the data, and then we validate and deploy those models into the systems. So that is the step-by-step approach that we generally want to take. And generally, we within the organizations, every stage is associated with some sort of a business impact, that whether some of the answers, some of the patterns, some of the processes that we are following are helping us in identifying the best of the ROIs or not, whether we are able to circle it back to the impact that we want to show within the organization using those decisions, using the processes to arrive to those decisions. So all of these things matters. And hence, it is very important that as a working professional, we always tie back our analytical processes to the ROIs that we want to showcase as a business impact. So from a technical point of view, there are certain techniques that we frequently use, and those are being used around data descriptions, qualities, visualizations, inferential statistics, descriptive statistics, supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And we are continuously working on text data sets, computer visions or multimedia data sets, numerical data sets. So you keep on learning these techniques, you keep on applying these techniques, and you keep on experimenting with these techniques on your data problems. And it's an iterative process where a combination of techniques helps you to understand the validity of your solutions that you're building. So it's never the one approach that fits all to all the kinds of data problems. You have to iteratively build your solutions. So you have to have some sort of understanding about a variety of techniques that are available. Next important thing that is really important with respect to decision making is the domain understanding, because that's the first stage, that's the first step that we generally associate with ourselves whenever we are solving any data problems or applying any analytical techniques, that we need to understand the business domain. It is very important that we do some sort of research work, do some sort of understanding, and improve our literacy levels around certain verticals, certain horizontals which are common to all the verticals. It could be any business areas, business domains that we are working on, like functional areas pertaining to human resource management, marketing, sales, supply chain, finance, IT operations, customer support. Or it could be industry verticals where a lot of customer management is being done uh, from a very specific industry point of view. For example, automotive, healthcare, life sciences, banking and finance, chemicals, oil, gas, and energy, and there can be, these many. So we need to understand the different terminologies, which will help us in understanding the data set in a better manner. We need to understand what are the business measures that generally are being accepted in the different business domains, that's industry verticals or functional areas. We need to understand what processes generate different kind of data sets so as to understand different data features in a very robust manner. And we should be wary of different computations and benchmark values that are available in those industries for those data problems. All of these things generally help us in understanding the context well, which allows us to go ahead and solve the right solutions for the business decision making. Independently, applications of any analytical technique is meaningless unless and until we have the right set of business domain understanding. And that is what I'm going to depict here. There is a model one where we are trying to capture the engine overheating, and it is impacted by four different factors. One is clogged coolant hose, radiator fan fault, cooling system leakages, and brake pad rubber deteriorations. I'm sure most of you might not have understood it. It's a difficult problem to solve. Okay, let's see the next model. We want to understand the financial health of the company. We have liquidity ratios, coverage ratios, turnover ratios, and operating profitability ratios as data features available to us. And we want to comment whether we can create a model to predict the financial health of the company, whether it's a good company or a bad company. Again, some things are known to us, some things are not known to us. I may not be able to understand it well. Okay, let me move to third model. Let's say student monthly expenses I want to compute. Accommodation cost, food expenses, and study material expenses. I want to find out how much expenses I'll be doing as a student. I'm sure most of you would be able to understand, because either you are a student or a working professional, but you must have gone through the student life once. And we all understand. Why? Because we understand the context, we understand the domain, we understand the nature of data points that we are talking about. And that is what essentially is required in every data problem solving. You should have the contextual understanding, you should have the domain understanding to be able to solve and rightly interpret what you are analyzing as an expert. So importance of domain knowledge is very much required whenever you are getting into any sort of analytical problem solving. And that leads us to framing what are the different steps for data-driven decision making. We have understood the domain importance, we have understood the analytical landscape, we have understood what all different types of analytical techniques are there. So that brings us to understand that what are the different stages that we cover up in data-driven decision making. So first thing that we do is, and this is not with respect to analytics, but this is about with respect to the decision makings that we are doing. So analytical stages we have already covered. This is with respect to decision making. So you need to tie it to both the business domains, to the analytical processes, and then you have to understand that what are the different stages of decision making that we are talking about. So first is that we need to set the right business goals. If we are not doing the right setting, we are not doing the expectations setting being done in the right manner, we may falter, we may not be able to proceed. Hence, setting of the right business goals is really key to our decision making. Next, what we do is that we stay focused on the different data sources, collecting data, analyzing data, and then doing some sort of decision making. That's all fine. But focusing on the right data and the right sources of those data sets is really, really important. Sometimes we do have the data, but it is not the right fit to meet out the right or to meet out the set of business goals that we have set it up for us. Hence, it is really important that with respect to the different sources, we analyze them, we confidently assess them that this is the right source from which I need to collect my data, and now I can analyze it for some sort of decision making. Every data source is not reliable, hence it should not be trusted blindly. The third stage is that we need to get smarter digital tools. Manually, nothing can be done. That's a hardcore fact that all of us are experiencing in our work lives, experiencing in our enterprise setups, experiencing in our day-to-day lives. Even if you have to search anything with respect to any apparel that you're buying, any food product that you are ordering, any dishes that you're ordering, over platforms like Zomato or Swiggy, you need a digital tool to evaluate them. You need a digital tool to evaluate what phones you want to buy, what cars you want to buy. You need them for your day-to-day decision making. If as an individual we are dependent so much on digital tools, just imagine how much organizations are dependent on these digital tools, because everything is scaled up. Everything requires massive amount of data which needs to be mined, which needs to be collected, which needs to be understood, and then decisions are being made. Just imagine Amazon taking a call just on the basis of a few set of rows to decide whether to go for a sale day or not, a big billion sale day or not. That's not possible. You need the right set of digital tools which allows you to collect, assess, and interpret the data that you are having. Next, once we have the infra readily available with us in the form of tools, then we find out what data points we are considering. We collect and analyze relevant data, and that is where analytics processes the stages and every sort of decisions that are based on those data points gets into considerations. So you embed your analytical framework into your fourth stage, where all the stages that you have learned so far gets accessible during your fourth stage. And then at the end, once you have completed your analytical journey and stages, you draw conclusions and use the right data. You have concluded, you have tied it back to the decisions, the objectives that you have set it up for yourself, and you make decisions based on the objectives and the conclusions that you have drawn out of the data. So that's the journey that you generally go through when you are having a data-driven mindset for any sort of business decision making. And I'll give you an example over here where it is valid for educational institutions, with respect to the student admission teams who really are working on some sort of analytical methods to make the right decisions. So let's say the strategic intent is that we want to meet the institutional goals. So we'll read it from left to right. So let's say the strategic intent is to meet the institutional goals. obviously everyone wants to have the institutional goals being met, and some of the institutional goals can be revenue oriented, some of them can be excellence oriented, some of them can be outreach oriented. So there can be multiple levels of goals that you want to set up. And let's assume there are a couple of business priorities that have been given to the analytical team and to the other teams also, uh, in order to stay relevant in the market, to stay competitive in the market. So let's assume that improving revenues and optimizing cost are the two business priorities being set up by the management team. You start with the intervention areas. You start by identifying the right sources for your data, and you want to start with the intervention areas, that how can we improve revenues. Student performances improvements you want to showcase so that more number of students can come in. You want to retain high performing students from migrating from one institution to another. You want to reduce the teaching cost for them. You want to maximize the benefits of extracurricular activities and engagements to the students. So that ways you start identifying what are the intervention areas that can help me to identify the business priorities to meet the different institutional goals. And those intervention areas are then converted into data problems to identify drivers of high performance so that I can retain the students with who are high performers, and they can become word of mouth for my institution. To identify key drivers for migrations, how can I optimize the teaching schedules? So all these analytical problems gets gets into the system, and you start solving them, and then you start measuring different outcomes that you want to understand and you want to achieve through these analytical issues or analytical problems that you have set in across different intervention areas pertaining to different business priorities to meet the right set of institutional goals. So as you progress, you align yourself with the businesses. You are not doing analytics in independence, but you are aligning them with respect to the businesses. And then you are bringing out the right set of decisions that need to be taken. So whether you have picked up the right analytical problem to be solved, it immediately shows once you have tied back to the business processes that you are understanding and being a part of it. So that's how you align yourselves with respect to the data driven decision making, where business alignment is utmost important whenever you are implementing any sort of analytics. I'll give you a few examples of marketing. Again, a very prominent area where a lot of you must have experienced it yourself, or must have done it for your organizations, or as a student you must have been a part of these campaigns. So a lot of mobile marketing and apps marketing are being done, and there a lot of in-app purchases options are there. You want to engage a lot of users, and that is where analytics in the form of association rule mining happens, and a lot of recommendation systems are being developed and designed for marketers to be able to capture more number of users and show relevant products to the users. Then you have viral marketing that's going on social media, where a lot of word of mouth are spreading, and you want to manage online reputations. So you want to find out the source of news and analyze the sentiments. And that aspect, that analytical aspect, is being done by techniques like natural language processing or text analytics, and some sort of machine learning modeling, where classifications or text analytics like summarizations, these are all, or sentiment analysis, all are helping us in finding the right intent, and whether a person is spreading positive news about yourself or negative news, or for any products, for any individual, for any social media influencer. These becomes really important for for the decision making purposes. Then from the influencer marketing and affiliate marketing point of view, you also want to find out, and as an enterprise, we are always doing that. We are finding the most effective influence with the relevant target audience. So anybody may have 50 million followers or 1 billion followers or 1 million followers, whatever be the numbers, whether it's the right target audience for me, that's the question that I keep on asking as an enterprise user, as a decision maker within my organization. So that is where I perform a lot of social network analysis, which helps me in understanding whether a particular influencer is of right fit for me or not. If it's a product which is not fitting to the target audience of the influencer, it's of no use of hiring or partnering that influencer for our product or for our organization. Similarly, for social media marketings and email marketings, we want to group the target customers. We want to avoid the spams, avoid the emails landing up in spam boxes. Hence, we are creating algorithms. We are always analyzing those algorithms, which can allow us, to land up in the right spot. Plus, uh, we also want to avoid junk mails into our mailboxes. So we are continuously using unsupervised machine learning methods, and we are also taking care of supervised ones through classifications and clustering. So both of them really helps us in getting into the right space in social media and email marketing. Again, search engine optimization is one of the prominent areas. Internet advertisements, where click-through rates are really important for us to understand various kinds of advertisements that we post online. And there we are predicting whether a user will click our ad or not, what is the right placement, what is the right value, what is the right time. And we are all analyzing different kinds of clicks to understand what is the right ROIs that we can derive out of the ads that we want to place online. And there are a lot of supervised machine algorithms are really helping us in doing that. And now we are also experiencing a lot of digital marketing, digitals plus physicals, uh, and a lot of different types of channels are coming up, where which we are calling as omni-channel marketing. So there are a lot of in-store analytics for consumer trends, to capture those trends, to understand those trends with the help of computer visions and deep learnings, where we are analyzing what the users are doing, what how they are behaving, how they are paying, how they are picking up the item. So a lot of things gets into consideration when we are doing the store analytics, whether it's a physical store or an online store. So different stores have got different expectations and different objectives to be met, and hence different set of marketing use cases really helps us to understand the consumer behavior and psychology with the help of analytics, so that we can take the right decisions for our products. And that's what is benefiting a lot of us, and hence it generalizes to the benefits of data driven decision making, where you can capture valuable insights. A lot of information, a lot of patterns are being picked up from different types of data points that we capture and that we analyze. A lot of placements or market basket analysis that's there in the retail stores. You want to place the right product at the right shelf, in the right location within a retail store. So you want to understand the insights that you see from the consumer behavior. It really helps in continual growth, because as we are scaling up, we are moving towards more and more data points, and that is why you need to be more data driven in your decision making. You can't just be reliant on human gut feeling. That's more of a sports activity right now, but that is also getting converted into a lot of data points being captured. You see football leagues, you see cricket leagues, they are all getting reliant more and more on matchups, player performances, the patterns that is getting emerged out of data points, and hence are evolving to that level. So human decision making or human based decision makings are taking a backseat, but it's not always that we would be experiencing them, but it's more data driven decisions that are helping us to have a good growth. We have improved program outcomes, anything that we want to run. We have optimized operations within the organizations, while dealing within internally with the employees or externally with the customers. It is really helping us in optimizing the operations, automating a lot of things. Based on the data, we are taking a lot of decisions, and it is helping us in predicting the future trends. We want to forecast values, we want to forecast sales, and then be prepared with respect to the right infrastructure, right type of revenues that can come in, right type of cost investments that would go in. And similarly, we can take the actionable insights based on that. So accordingly, there are a lot of benefits that we are looking at when we see that data driven decision makings are being adopted by the enterprise personally, as well as within the industry also. Everyone who is having that kind of a mindset is doing better than their counterparts. So that's a generalized statement that we are looking in the market. As a way forward, once we have understood that there are a lot of data driven decision makings that can happen, there are a lot of benefits that we can derive out of data driven decision making. By applying analytics, we can have multiple scenarios being covered up, multiple and complex scenarios being covered up. So it becomes really important whether you are working in any of the business domains, any of the functional areas, any of the sectors, industry verticals. Everywhere you will see involvement of data, and hence it becomes quite important for all of you to start focusing on the skills that are required around data analytics. You should focus on problem solving and demonstrating your solutions so that you become and stay relevant within your organization. That's really important, because the way we used to have some sort of understanding in the late 90s or early 2000s, when personal computers and official desktops were being introduced, it was all hypothetically driven statements that computers will disrupt everything, they will not allow you to work anything, they will do it themselves, and that will replace a lot of humans and stuff like that. But the fact is that we have all grown together with those computers. Then the evolutions of the smartphones that came in, and different kind of technologies that have emerged these days. And now if you'll see around yourself, even a 70 or an 80-year-old person is using WhatsApp. Even a street vendor is utilizing Paytm for payment collections. That's the kind of digital literacy that we have evolved into over the past 2 decades. And that is the same kind of analogy that I can draw with respect to data analytics, that everyone will become more data oriented, and he or she will be spending more time on understanding the data patterns to take any sort of decisions, uh, be it on the professional side or on the personal side, that would be required. And hence it is really important for us to learn certain skill sets, to learn different processes around analytics, and then demonstrate those skills. If you are not professionally involved, if you're a student, then going through the certifications, hackathons really makes sense for all of you. If you're a working professionals, then getting certain tools certifications, certain certifications which adds value to your uh, organizational profile, which allows you to get onto more analytics oriented projects, which allows you to demonstrate certain client facing things. It must be done. It should be taken as a positive activity. And then start looking at the different types of business problems around your areas of interest, and start sharing those solutions within your peers. If within an organization, start innovating and start discussing it within your groups and peers. If you are really a student and working on different societies, and working on different types of problems, can really help you to solve different problems using analytics, using data methods, and sharing it with your peers, sharing it with your management group, and the teaching group. Then you can start writing technical blogs as you get matured over the journey, over the period of time that you really want to spend your time on. You start explaining certain concepts with your viewpoints, you start solving certain problems with your viewpoints, you start experiencing something which others may have missed out. So that keeps on coming up as you start experimenting with your data points. It's not a journey that will be over in a single day. It's a lifelong journey where we are all trying to experiment and iteratively learn that what are the best practices, what are the best solutions, what are the best set of tools and techniques, what are the best set of activities that would help me in getting more efficient with my solutions and to have better decisions. So from that perspective, writing technical blogs certainly helps. And the ultimate form of publications is the research publications, where you get into the scientific mode of writing and getting it evaluated through the topmost reviewers, topmost experts in the industry, in the academia, in the research space. You attend conferences, you write book chapters, you write journals. You start showcasing that what are the different generalized frameworks that can be, adapted, and start publishing those, frameworks through these journal papers and articles, which will really help you to become more focused in your approach while you are solving any data problem inside your workspace. So there are two things. One is the learning aspect. The second is the productizing aspect of any sort of data science learning or any sort of analytical learning. You should always keep both the options handily available for yourself so that you have the generalization abilities also and you have the specialization abilities also. You should be able to convert a specialized problem into a generalized problem and vice versa. That will be really, really important for all of you going forward, because organizations would require different kind of generalizations and specializations as you keep evolving with respect to your skill sets. So that's the way forward that I would suggest. And with those things, I would like to end this session and would be open up for any sort of Q&A that you have. So would be happy to answer.
Dr. Rajan, you can refer to the chat box. We have a few questions there.
Okay. Okay, so questions. Okay, among all these concepts, what a data analyst should know. So there are different profiles. So that's a question by Sanjoli. So there are different profiles within the space of analytics. There can be data scientists, there can be data analysts, there can be research analysts, there can be business analysts, there can be ML engineer, there can be data engineer, there can be ML scientists, there can be AI scientists. So there are a lot of profiles that are there. Broadly, there are three levels that I would bifurcate them into. One is the analyst profile, second is the scientist profile, and third is the engineer profile. Usually, engineers are the ones who are taking care of the data infrastructures, the storage part, the fetching part, the processing parts, the environment in which model needs to be deployed. So all these things are associated with the engineering space. The mathematically formulations of the models, getting into depth of these models, understanding the most efficient model, bringing out the best models out of the given options, all this is being done by the data scientist. How to convert that problem, what are the business requirements, what are the different types of activities that different stakeholders are asking for, what are the right questions that needs to be answered through the analytical problem solving. All of these things are being covered under an analyst profile. Specifically to data analyst, you should be good in data fetching through programming techniques like SQL. You should be having exploratory data analysis skills using Python or any other programming tool or even no coding tools as well. So data gathering, data management is an essential skill for a data analyst, and some sort of data visualizations and exploratory data analysis is what is expected out of a data analyst profile. Is this known as exploratory analysis? Exploratory analysis is usually the first stage of data analysis, where during the stage of descriptive analysis, you start exploring what the data points are all about, what is the health of the data, what is the quality of the data, whether it's reliable enough or not. So that all comes under exploration phase. You're exploring different things, different dimensions, different aspects that would help you to answer the business question. So that's what we are calling as exploratory analysis phase. Anil is asking, I'm a zonal head for West in sales and marketing. Can I change career? How is it going to help me? Change career to analytics is certainly beneficial for you, Anil. That's one of the prominent things that you'll have to adapt yourself, because going forward, it would be really important you to become data driven. Changing profile or career is not advisable because you are already having a good domain understanding around sales and marketing. You just need to augment your skills with some sort of analytical upskilling where you understand how to collect, interpret, analyze, and assess your data. So you need to work on those skills, which helps you to take better decisions and analyze your data across sales and marketing. So whatever domain expertise you have gathered over the years, please don't change that. That's not really required. But what is required is augmenting those skills with the data understanding skills and data analysis skills. So you should augment them, not change entirely and become a data analyst. That's my suggestion. How can predictive analysis be applied in the marketing domain, and can it be measured? I specifically gave a lot of examples in marketing domain. A lot of use cases are there. Everything is measurable. You need to identify the key performance indicators or the relevant KPIs that you want to assess. For example, within marketing, we generally give online ads, and through the click-through rates, we generally assess whether these ads were beneficial for us. What was the landing rate for us? What was the conversion rates for us? Did somebody clicked onto our product? Did somebody bought our product? So there's an entire funnel around marketing that is created using analytics, and it is continuously measured. What are the engagement rates? What are the conversion rates? What are the lead rates? What are the payment rates, non-payment rates, renewal rates, repeat purchase rate, customer acquisition cost, uh, net performance scores? There are ample number of measures through which you can analyze your marketing efforts and activities. So marketing is a very interesting domain with respect to analytics. It is very widely used and very matured domain to understand analytics. And I would suggest that again, a lot of predictive analysis should be experimented with your own data sets. What skills data analysts need to have? I have already answered that. What are the entry level roles in the organization? Entry level roles are data analyst, business analyst, research analyst, junior data scientists, junior data engineers. These are some of the entry level roles that every organization looks forward to. Next is, I am iOS app developer and how to start working in data analytics. So as a developer, I would suggest that start tracking the bugs that you receive, start analyzing the data around the developmental activities, which is around the software development, software bugs reporting, how frequently, what is the turnaround time of your developmental efforts, what is the turnaround time of your bug fixing efforts, what is the turnaround time of any other process that you are going through with respect to the software development life cycles. So start analyzing the data or for yourself first, and then start looking at for your teams, then start looking for the benchmark values, and you would be transitioning to an analytical uh, role from there. If you really want to do it for others, then first do it for yourselves. See if you have that acumen, see if you have that skill sets, and kind of patience and the intelligence level that it requires. If you really find it interesting, go ahead and switch the career from being a developer to the analytics phase. But usually, developers and engineers are more closely related to analytics because they come with a lot of sense of computer science principles like data structures, algorithms, and handling of data sets. So they are more naturally uh, inclined towards analytics, and they can smoothly transition into those roles.
Dr. Rajan, you can also refer to a Q&A section.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of queries that are pending, so I can just see the
So you
chat.
can take a few of them
Okay.
which you feel are relevant.
Okay. I'll switch to the Q&A for now. What are some key suggestions to enhance domain industry knowledge for someone without experience? That's a pretty difficult thing to do, but generally you go through some of the industry reports that are frequently published by some of the good corporate houses, some of the good consulting firms like Accenture, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, and other consulting groups. You can follow certain good magazines by Forbes, Wall Street Journals, ACMs, and other technical magazines. So they all can be a good source for you to understand a domain. Getting to know the big data analytics is important to know when you consider business. I'm not sure what is the question. Okay. Uh, for example, one who is strong at Excel, SQL, Power BI can be a data analyst. So I think that is being answered. I'll move on to the next one. I'm looking over retail, investment banking, internet company verticals. How can I get experience in these areas? It's again through the domain expertise. You'll have to go through the different reports. You'll have to find out the relevant examples that have been solved using analytics in these areas, and you will be able to get the requisite understanding and experience. But there's no substitute to live experience. So get a good job around these areas, and probably you'll get more understanding during the jobs. Having a banking experience of 6.5 years as sales manager, now looking for a data analyst job, and what is the scope for me in data science field? Again, banking and finance has got a really good number of use cases. Just augment your knowledge with the analytics skills. It is not really required to switch to an analyst job because you have a good domain understanding of 6.5 years. It's better that you focus on fintechs, maybe, because fintechs are capturing most of the data points, and that will really help you and allow you to pick up what you want to do as an analyst. So start applying to that domain itself. I'm an MIS executive at MNC company. I'm handling the space management there. Most of the work that I'm doing is Excel. It helps me. So is it help for me for becoming a data analyst? Yes, Excel is always the first starting point from where you start reading the data, you start looking at the data. Even in Excel, you can create dashboards. Even in Excels, you can create a lot of reports that are required through a lot of analytical methods. And in fact, there are a few algorithms now that are available in Excel also, which you can really apply. So it does not matter that you are working on Excel or not. You can still start with the analytical journey through the Excel. What is the best CTC we can expect as a fresher in data analyst role, having 8+ years of experience in operation? It really depends. CTC is something that's not standardized right now. It is really difficult to generalize these things. And it really depends on organization to organization, industry to industry, functional area to functional area, and it varies a lot. So there's no specific answer to that. How much AI and deep learning have the roles of data analyst or scientist? So for analysts, it is not really useful to get into AI and deep learning. Analysts are more handling the data and the exploratory part and the descriptive part. For scientists, yes, AI and deep learning algorithms, techniques are really important, and you must focus if you are looking into the scientist domain. What are the domains or business open to data analytics? Is pharma the one? Yes, absolutely. Pharmaceuticals are utilizing a lot of data points. All the COVID related, futuristic predictions were done using analytical methods. So pharma is, yes, a great industry to work in.
I guess we have answered most of the questions here. But if in case we have skipped any of your questions, our team will be reaching out to you post the session. I would like to extend a thankful note to Dr. Rajan for being onboarded for this webinar. Thank you so much for your valuable contribution. Thank you so much for sharing the insights on the topic, Dr. Rajan, and we're looking forward to have you on board for many upcoming webinars. Thank you so much.
Sure, Mahima. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for patiently listening. I hope all of you will be benefited out of this session. Thank you very much.
Everyone, I'm going to quickly run a poll, which is going to ask you whether you would like to know more about the analytics program that is offered by HeroWire. And you can quickly let us know if you would like to know about the program. And if not, you can leave the session. And if you would like to know more about the program, Soumya is here to help you understand the program in a much more detail. You all can see the poll on your screen. Soumya, can you see the poll?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So people have already started polling, and Soumya, you can also see the results, and accordingly, you can take this forward.
Sure, Mahima, sure. I'll take it from here. Right. So now, before I definitely start discussing about the program, right? I would just want a quick, answer from the people who are actually, interested to hear about the program. So, how many out of you are actually, looking for a career transition, right? Like you're looking forward to work in an analytics role. You can just quickly type your answer in the Q&A box or the chat box wherever you feel comfortable. And yeah. So quickly, if you can give me a yes or a no from your end. How many of you are looking for transition, career transition as well? Okay. So I'm getting some yeses from some people. Right. And can you just quickly tell me your domains, like domains, sectors, industries, where are you coming from exactly? Like BFSI, okay, right. Banking, right. Automotive plus IT, okay. Okay, we have some developers here as well, right? BFSI, okay, great, got it. So again, I mean, most of you, right, would be working on some technical tools, of course, right? So the main agenda of this program is basically to give a transition for all of you who are actually working in a non-technical profile and you want to switch towards a techno-functional role right now. So that, just like Rajan mentioned, that analytics analyst is not something where you have to do AI, do deep learning, do a lot of coding. It's basically a techno functional role, right? 40% it's the functional part, 50 to 60% is the technical part, right? So the program that we are basically having is a bridge for people who actually are working in a non-technical role right now and now would want to proceed towards a techno-functional, right? Maima, if you could just quickly confirm whether my screen is visible.
Yes, Soumya, I can see your screen. You can just put it in a presentation mode.
Yeah, done that already, right? So now, before talking about the program, I would like to highlight that who are the people that we are focusing on and what kind of profiles are we looking for this particular program, right? So we are focusing on people who are currently not working in a very technical role right now. You guys might not be using things like Python, predictive analytics, right? SQL in your current role, and now you want to actually switch into an analyst profile, maybe not switch the sector, because some sectors like BFSI, right? You do not need to actually switch the sector. You can just take up an analytics role in BFSI and continue your journey, right? So this course is basically going to help those kind of people, particularly. For technical people who are basically want to go ahead for a data scientist role, like a very technical role, we are having another program available, right? So first of all, it is very important to understand that why should you do a course, right? I mean, today when everything is available online, everything is available free of cost, why should you invest your time and money into a course and, uh, basically utilize that course to get a transition? Why can't you get a transition without a program, right? So here are some key pointers, right, that a course helps you with. First of all, gaining relevant skill set. Now, when I talk about data science is a field where you can learn n number of things. Learning is a never-ending process here, right? Now, if you want to take a transition after some, let's say, X months, let's say 9 months, 10 months, then first of all, you need to target and learn the basic relevant skills, right? For example, for an analyst, SQL, Python, and one data visualization tool. These are the three basic skills that you need to have if you want to work as an analyst, right? Second pointer is the industry exposure. So definitely, if you're looking forward to switch your career into a techno-functional domain, first of all, you need to understand what roles are available there. What is going to be your career path? What is going to be the journey for the next 15, 20 years? And only then planning a transition is fruitful, right? Third is, of course, problem solving. Unless and until you know how to solve a business problem or problem using analytics and data science, you are no use to the company, right? You would not be able to clear the interviews. So learning problem solving is something which is a very integral part. It is imperative for you to actually learn how to apply things rather than just, learning the basic things like coding or anything. Okay. Last but not the least, placement opportunities. So definitely, I mean, if you're looking for a transition, having placement opportunities is very important, of course, right? So these are some things which, even if you try, you would not be able to find online, or you would not be able to find on platforms, where you do not have to pay a lot, right? Now, let me just quickly tell you that how HeroWired helps you in, catering towards all of these pointers and how it can help you in getting this career transition at the end. Okay. Of course, if I talk about Hero, we have been in India since past 65 years. one of our flagship companies is Hero Motorcorp. And other than that, we are having our companies in different sectors like finance, renewable, electronics, manufacturing, education, right? If I talk about education sector specifically, we have spent more than 30 years in education, not only in our, school segment, but of course, we are having a university called BML Munjal University, which is catering to both graduates and postgraduates. And we are the founding members of one of the finest B schools in India, ISP Hyderabad, right? Now, the vision of Hero Wired is to basically bridge the gap between industry and academia, right? Again, I would just quickly like to, run a quick Q&A from your end. First question is, of course, whatever job you're working in right now, do you think it is relevant? It is matching with the skills that you gained in your graduation or while you were completing your degrees? Just a quick yes and no would do from your end. Okay. Right. So I'm getting some answers. Okay. No. Right. So as I can see, most of the people would actually are going ahead with a no. Because again, whatever we learn in our graduation, sadly, of course, only 10 to 15% of that part is relevant, right? So now what we are focusing on is that whatever skills you are gaining in this program, they are according to the industry requirement only. We are not teaching you anything which is not relevant. We are not covering anything which is not required out there, right? So with that perspective, we have built up this program so that after completing this course, you become 100% industry ready. Now, some of the key things that I would like to talk about. First is the industry expert led classes. So like, of course, when you go out and, you basically start doing a degree program, people who are teaching you are professors with, good 15, 20 years of experience in teaching, but they cannot actually guide you that how you can build a career for the next 25, 30 years. That is why in this program, we have no professors. We have industry experts with an average of 10 to 15 years of experience. So not only these people can actually teach you the concepts, but they can also guide you that how you can, implement these concepts and solve a life business problem. Plus, how is it going to help you for the remaining career of yours? So that guidance is something you can get from these people. If I just quickly show you the profiles, we have Abhay, right, who has a previous experience of working in IBM American Express. We have Karthik, who has an experience of working in Infosys, L&T. And this whole program is designed by Deepiman Sanyal, who is under the top 40 under 40 data scientists in India, right? So, I mean, the brains behind the program is a person who has actually worked as a data scientist and has actually applied all of the things that you're going to learn in the course. Secondly, since it is very important for you to also interact with these people, keep your opinion, your point of views, tell them about your background and your objective, 70 to 90% of the classes are going to be live and interactive, where you can actually unmute yourself and speak up. Because we believe that an interactive way of learning is actually more efficient. Okay. So all of the curriculum would be covered in these live classes only. And there, of course, the batch strength is also going to be on an average 40 to 60 learners, not more than that. So that would actually help you to interact efficiently with the faculty and learn and get, a lot of exposure from them. Okay. Fourth part is projects and case studies. Now, guys, definitely, if you're looking for a transition, without showing any work in analytics, it is, very difficult for you to actually go ahead and take a transition. So for that purpose, we are having industry-like projects. So we have partnered with some companies. We have DHL, we have Spotify, right? We also have Hospitality Minds. Previously, we had projects with AWS, Byju's. But the point here is that you actually get life business problems from these companies. You get to solve those business problems so that you can actually learn how to apply things in a practical manner. Okay. Secondly, of course, these projects are, that they can be added to your portfolio, right? That would actually help you to, take a transition at the end. So that you have something to show that, yes, I have solved some kind of real-time problem. Okay. Last but not the least, our placement structure. So definitely placement is an outcome. I mean, placement is something you get only when you're fully equipped, right? So for placements, we are having a career coach who would get assigned to you in the beginning of the course. Okay. Now, this is for the first time that any kind of learn tech company has actually come up with this kind of placement structure. So it's going to be a personalized career services, structure that you're going to get. Okay. That would start with, first of all, assigning you a career coach who can actually have one-on-one interactions with you so that we can understand your profile, we can understand what is your objective, what background you have, and then we can start working on it. So they would be, helping you with resume building sessions, personal brand building sessions, right? They would be providing you career coaching, mentoring that, what kind of roles you can take up, what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? Maybe you need to work on your soft skills. Maybe you need to have more mock interviews. Where do you exactly lack, right? Then after interacting with you and understanding also that what is your preference, in which kind of role do you want to work, they are going to give you minimum 8 to 10 relevant opportunities at the end of the course. Okay. Now, when I say relevant, what I mean is considering your experience, the skills that you're learning in the course, right? And definitely the previous package that you had. Okay. So again, this placement structure is designed in such a manner that if you're able to put in the required efforts in the program and if you're following the structure properly, right, we are giving you 100% placement assurance at the end of the course. And that is the best part about the program, especially for people who are planning to take a transition, right? Total, the duration of this course is going to be 9 months. In the first 8 months, you'll have your classes in the weekends, 3-hour long classes on Saturdays and Sundays. Along with that, you would be having some mini projects where you learn to apply things step by step. Finally, in the 9th month, there's going to be a capstone project where you get to apply all of the skills, all of the tools and technologies that you have learned, and you get to solve one big business problem. So that is how the whole structure looks like, right? Now, if anyone has any questions regarding the program, the platform is open, guys. You can start asking your questions.
You have a chat box and a Q&A section open for you all. So if in case you have any questions regarding the program that we are providing, you have a Q&A section also open. You can just write down your query and Soumya will be more than happy to answer them.
Rest, of course, people who were actually worried about understanding that, how this particular transition would be possible for them. Tomorrow, we would be having a learning consultant, connected to you. And they would be, telling you in a very comprehensive manner whether this program would be suitable for you or not. Okay, I have a question from Jatin. Why is placement stat is not showing in the website? So, I mean, you will have a learning consultant connected with you. The placement stats are available with us, right? They would be able to send to you, on your personal number if you want, Jatin. And definitely, like, other than that, we have the testimonials uploaded on the website. So you can just visit the program page and you'll find all the relevant data presented.
Now, Soumya, I believe we have mostly covered all the questions. But if in case we have missed out any of the questions of you all, our team will be reaching out to you, as Soumya just mentioned, post this webinar. If in case you still want to know anything about the program, they will be the right people to tell you about the program. If you need a brochure, they will be helping you out with the same. And all the details will be covered by the learning consultants. Thank you so much, Soumya, for sharing all the details about the program. And we will be right back, everyone, with yet another exciting webinar. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience today. And I hope this webinar was useful for you all, able to, understand the analytics role in business decision making. And we'll be coming back with a topic as such. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Soumya.
Thank you, Mahima.
A very good evening, everyone.